Are you ready for your next comedian? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest, I met this guy doing a show in the South area, and he rocked it. And I wanted to give this guy a shot, so ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Huey Li.
Wow, look at this town, look at it. This will be good, this show will be really good. Because I am so prepared, I'm so prepared. I even jerked off backstage, just to stay sharp. And I forced Marcus to watch me. I'm not famous yet, but I need to get prepared. One day I need to do this famous shit, Yeah, so as a conventional Chinese comedian, I sort of feel obligated to start with some discussion about dick sizes. You guys are expecting it, I know. Yeah. So what happens is that I recently learned that the young folks in China these days, they also like to send dick pics, just like you guys. So you see this small world, right? We're all connected by some common stupidity. Yeah, but in China they do it in a slightly smarter way, right? They send other people's dicks. Yeah. Well, that's smart, right? Instead of respecting the copyright, we do it in the Chinese way, right? So, and by the way, I think it's smart, right? Because you won't get laid by sending dick pics anyway. So the ladies will never find out if the fake photos are real or not, right? Yeah. It took me a while to get used to this kind of topics. The first time I saw another Chinese comedian talking about his genitals, I was like, speaking for yourself, mister. Look at his hands, are they small? Are they small? Yeah, but anyway, after a while I have to get used to it. I learned that I have to have some sexual content in my sets. That's really important, right? Especially when you walk into a bar and facing a bunch of drunk audience, what can you do? Right? You have to talk about your sex life in detail, like you are performing a verbal porn or something. Yeah, so even though it's verbal, but it's still porn, so they have to listen to it, right? Yeah. So but it's hard for me. It's hard for me because I'm not really that into sex. I like you guys. I think sex is overrated. Have you asked yourself, why do you even need sex? Anyone has any idea why we even need sex? Don't tell me you do it for orgasm. That's dumb, okay? Because sex is the least efficient way for achieving orgasm, okay? It's almost like, okay, I need to get high today, but first I need to go to the movie with the drug dealer. That's very inefficient, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't do movies anymore because I'm happily married, but still sex is not a very big thing for me, right? If I want to enjoy sex, I need a lot of conditions, right? Things like I'm not hungry, right? I'm not tired, not sad, and not too happy either. Right? Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm too happy, it won't work. Sometimes my wife and I got all set up, everything is ready and the mood is on, and all of a sudden she tells a joke and I lose my wood. Yeah, I think my wife should be here instead. She can do a stand-up set lying down, But sometimes I suspect she intentionally tells jokes to avoid sex. That lady is tricky. But it's okay for me. I don't mind, right? Because I heard that laughing actually has more health benefits than sex. You know that? Yeah, so you guys made a really good choice coming here. Right? This shit is so much better than sex, okay? This place is better than any red light district you can find, okay? Yeah. But even though I'm not that into sex, I'm quite into sexual fantasies, right? Fantasies are fun, right? You guys like fantasies? I have a lot of those. Yeah, but I just don't put myself into the fantasy. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I can construct this really badass fictional scenario with a bunch of players doing all kinds of perverted shit, right? But I'm not one of them, okay? Can you tell why? I'm not that sexy. If I put myself in the story, I'll fucking ruin it. Yeah. They would be like, oh, what's this lame-ass Chinaman doing here? Right? Yeah. So we're trying to tie up this lady. You stop telling your stupid jokes. Yeah. And by the way, all those characters are really rude and violent people, right? I'm a gentleman. I'll never do the same shit they do. Yeah. So the first time I came to this country, I only came to this country once, but when I first came to this country, I had a lot of culture shocks, right? A lot of shit I had never seen in China before, right? Really, really new to me, right? Things like freedom, right? Like fortune cookies. I can guarantee that you can't find any fortune cookie in the entire China. If you don't believe me, you can try. I mean, in China, if you want to know your fortune, you have to fucking pay. Yeah, sometimes I wonder how fortune tellers even survive in America. Right? They have to compete with free cookies. And the accuracy is about the same. But of course, fortune cookies are not completely free, right? So the cost of knowing your fortune here is that you first have to have an overpriced shitty meal. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah. But it's not like I don't like Chinese food. I definitely like Chinese food. But in case no one told you yet, orange chicken is not Chinese food, okay? You know, the first time I ordered orange, I saw these two white folks. They're really confident. Let's order some orange chicken, right? Yeah, let's do it. So that's the first time I ordered orange chicken, and the waitress was a little perplexed. How come this Chinaman is getting ideas from the white folks? Yeah. But anyway, you know, that's what I got, and I got totally shocked. That's the first and the last time I ate that shit, right? Not only there was no orange, but there was no chicken. It's just some deep fried carbs coated with more carbs and like shaped like shit. Yes. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but we eat a lot of crazy shit in China. We eat fish brain, right? You heard about it. We eat pig ears, right? In fact, they used to sell pig ears in Davis, but not anymore. But we eat like goat kidneys. Yeah, we eat a lot of crazy shit in China. But they were not crazy enough to eat orange, no fucking chicken. Yeah. But I'm thinking, you know what else you don't see a lot in China? Right, I'm talking about those big hands. Okay. So even though I hate to admit it, you know, I have to admit that you guys do have big hands. Right? Look at those, phenomenal. Yeah, look at those. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Actually, from a Chinese perspective, President Trump's hands are actually quite normal. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, I guess that's probably why a lot of Chinese immigrants actually voted for him in 2016, right? That guy has normal hands. Let's fucking vote for him. Yeah, you guys are like freaks. We can't trust you. Yeah, but anyway, you know, I don't blame me, right? Because I'm not a citizen, I didn't vote. So whatever happens in the next few years, don't blame me, okay? Yeah. So actually, the last thing I want to talk about a little bit. Do I still have time? How many?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. So let's tell you some really quick statistics, right? Do you know what all mass shooters have in common? Have you ever heard of it? All mass shooters have one thing in common, at least 99% of them. Do you know that? They have very different backgrounds, they have different economic background, different religions, different races, but they all have a dick. Right, think about it. Yeah, that's some big discovery. But some people told me that's something big, right? So I don't know why, but all I want to say is that I totally support the Second Amendment rights, but for women only. Okay? The men are dangerous enough with their dicks. I don't want them to carry another gun, for Christ's sake. All right, thank you so much.